Well, there were all those stories at the time. There's stories about almost everything.
Yeah, that's the thing.
About how you didn't get along. You had
No,
didn't
no,
like one another.
we didn't get along. We were four guys. We had rows. It never got in the way of the music, no matter how bad the row was. Once the counting, we all gave our best. And that was a little later, too, which I think is a natural thing, you know. Suddenly, we've got lives, and I've got children, and, you know, the effort that we put in, because we worked really hard, was starting to pale a little, you know. And, you know, we always thank Paul to this day. Because of Paul, who's the workaholic of our band, we made a lot more records than John and I would have made, say, you know. We'd like to sit around a little more, and then Paul would call, all right, lads, and we'd go in, yeah.
You've been in the wind for a long time, my friend.
Better than having wind.
Well, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I have. You know, from 1960, when I left the factory, this is what I've done. You know, played, I've toured, made a few good records.
Made a few good records.
Yeah.
You know, and I know many people, particularly people who are at the top or who have been at the top, who lose their moorings.
They do.
They lose the authenticity, is the only word I come up to. You haven't done that.
Well, thanks. I hope not. I think it's all part of where we came from as well. But you know, I always give credit that there was, you know, we're talking about the Beatles, there were four of us. I mean, I was in Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, but there were four of us, and we all from the same city, and we would look at each other. You know, if one of us would be freaking out or being a big shot, three other people would go, excuse me, you know, and that kept us. And, you know, it's interesting, because the time we met Elvis, I really thought, how sad he's on his own. And he had all those people around, but he was on his own. I had three great mates. I'm well enough of it here.
But you mentioned earlier you had a God-given gift.
Yeah, time.
How much of it is a God-given gift, and how much of it is all those hours you spent practicing?
I didn't. I hate practicing. I hate sitting there. I tried it when I first got the kit upstairs in the back room, you know, all those movies that were made. And it was the most boring thing ever. I did all my learning with other musicians, other bands. I was lucky because there were a lot of us around, and we weren't all great players. We were all learning, so I learned everything with everyone else at that time.
This is in Liverpool?
In Liverpool, yeah. But I was lucky in the factory. The guy who lived next door to me in the street worked in the factory, and he was Eddie Miles, a great guitarist. He's just one of those guys, picked it up, can play anything, you know. And my best friend, Roy, made a tea-chest bass, and I had a snare drum and brushes, and we used to play to the men at lunchtime in the basement. And that's how I started. And now I'm talking to you.
You mentioned taking risks.
Yeah.
That we take risks in life. It's no good looking back and saying, might have, could have, should have taken this road or that road. But you took a big risk. You were playing with the Hurricanes.
I was.
And you got a chance to go with this Beatles group.
Yeah, I know.
But the Hurricanes were bigger at the moment.
They were, but I loved, from Germany where we met, really. We were playing Rory and the Hurricanes, and the Beatles were playing the different clubs than the guy Koshmi, who owned both of them, put us on the same club. And I loved John, Paul, and George. I just loved that front line. And, you know, we would do at the weekend 12 hours between us. And I'd be there for the last gig, you know, just sitting there watching the front line, requesting songs. Yeah, so then they asked, and I had no hesitation, really, but people did say, are you going to leave Rory? And I said, yeah, I'm going to leave. You know, you just make her step up.
I'm interested to know why that was. You liked the group.
I did. I
liked the music.
Yeah, they were great players. They were you know, Rory was a showman, and we were players, and we had a guitarist called Johnny Guitar who was great, but that was about it, really. But we You know, we were big in Liverpool. And I just loved them. So, you know, the thing Brian called it was a Wednesday. He said, would you join the band? I said, sure. I said, when? He said, oh, tonight. I said, no, I can come Saturday because they've got to get another drummer. Because, you know, we're all playing the same songs.
Well, let's go back for a minute. Even before the Hurricanes, you heard Lightnin' Hopkins, you heard Ernest Tubb, you heard
Hank Williams,
all of those. Did you hear other drummers? For example, Gene Krupa was a big drummer.
I went to see, I think it was the Glenn Miller story. Gene Krupa was actually in it. Yeah. But people always ask me, oh, what about those drummers and those records? I never listened to the drummer. I listened to the whole thing. You know, there was an Al Green track called I'm a Ram, and the guy hit the hi-hat, boom, boom, boom. Psst. It's like magic to me. And I remember I remember those moments. We're sitting with Klaus Bormann in this apartment we have in London, and so that did. But Al Jackson, yes, I know the names, and they played on great records. But it wasn't like I was listening for the drums.
Well, looking back over your career, you've had it all. You've had a great solo career, still touring with your own band in which you put the band forward. I was there last night when you performed, and frankly, a little surprising, but very impressive. You don't put yourself forward. You put the band forward, the whole band.
I love to be in a band. I'm a band guy.
You're a band guy. Now, and a drummer. Now help me remember, I'm not a musician. Yeah. But do you think of yourself as a sideman? Or is the drummer in a special category? You have the star, the centerpiece.
Well, because of the Beatles and that, you know, I am the guy. It's Ringo and the All-Stars.
Right.
But I play with all these other guys. They play for me. And it sort of worked out since 1980. Now it'll be 30 years I've been doing this part of my life. Next year, when I put the first Ringo and the All-Stars band together, which came about, how crazy, some guy, promoter, Pepsi had got to him and say, you know, we'd like Ringo to do a tour, that we'll support him. Who got to my lawyer, who called me out of the blue. And I thought, well, yeah, okay. And I phoned, you know, it was quite a big band because I just opened in those days the phone book and called all these Dr. John, Joe Walsh, Billy Preston, Clarence. I thought that'd be good. I had big Clarence to bump up against. And Nils and Levon. I was so insecure, though I'd said yes. There were three drummers. I was in the middle. Jim Keltler, my hero from LA drummer, was on this side, and Levon Helm was on this side. And we were just all boogieing away. It's very good.
But you said you were insecure. But
I was. I never put a band together. I've always been in bands, joined bands. The only time I put a band together was like make life easy, 58, and I was trying to put this band together and I heard about this trumpet player. And I said, oh man, come down, we'll have a rehearsal. And the trumpet player did play trumpet, but the only thing he could play was when the Saints go marching in. So that band fell apart really quick. So, you know, it's good. Life is good.